Last year, I read over 40 books, and this year, my goal is to read 50, and I'm already well on my way to accomplishing that goal. If you were to say to me 5 years ago that I would be an avid reader, I would probably laugh and say, yeah, I wish in my dreams. The reality is that I only really started reading last year and would now consider myself an avid reader. And I wanted to share with you a few tips on how to get back into reading if that's something that you're wanting to accomplish, or even just to start reading in general. No goals, just to pick up a book and continually read and hopefully finish your book. So if that's something that you're wanting to do this year and just start reading again, reading in general, then stick around. Reading's hard. Getting into reading can be really hard. And I can say from experience, it takes time. Just like anything else, it takes time and practice and intention to pick up a book, even to listen to a book, and make time, intentional time to read. So, knowing that, I have a few tips on how to make that a little bit easier, how to incorporate reading so that it's a little bit easier. My first tip, start small. Now, I mean small as in decide to read 1 page a day. 1 page. If you read more, sick, like amazing, you're killing it. But if you only decide to read 1 page a day, that's still reading. And that's still reading and finishing and accomplishing your goal. You're moving towards the end of the book, right? There's only forward. You're only going forward. So I would say start small. Have fun. Even if 1 page is too much, a paragraph a day. Super simple. Just make it easy, like so easy. 5 minutes, 10 minutes even, read a paragraph or a page of a book. So that's starting really small. And in another way that you can start small is to start with a small book. Whether you're going to be listening to a book or reading a book, I would highly recommend finding a short and sweet little book. Now, this might be hard depending on a lot of things, but mainly you not really knowing necessarily what you like to read. This is a question that I had when I first started reading, and it's something that definitely comes up. So I would say for a short book, try to pick something that you're going to enjoy, okay? It can be even a young adult's book, okay? Something that is going to be easy language. You can really grasp the concept of the book. I would say max 300 pages, but shorter than 300 would be great. And whether it's fiction or nonfiction, just something that you're gonna like, something you're gonna enjoy. Just start small. So first 2 tips, start small as in trying to decide the amount of reading you're gonna do a day. Second tip, start small with the size of the book. So third tip is to take time, intentional time out of your day to read. So just like anything else in your calendar, you schedule it, right? You have an appointment, you are going to a yoga class, you're going to the gym, you gotta walk your dogs, whatever it is, you pretty much put it in your schedule to get it done. So if you want to read, and if you want to start reading continually, put it in your schedule. Now, The easiest way that I find to do this, and I have seen other creators and readers do a similar thing, is reading at night. One, it really helps to get you tired and to have a restful sleep so you're not scrolling on your phone, you know. And two, it's actually a way to wind down, like you're already doing a task to wind down. Why not incorporate reading for 5 minutes? That's where you can incorporate your one page or your one paragraph right before bed. Easy peasy. You have your book right by your bed. Pick it up, read that part. If you read more, cool. Obviously, once you start like not understanding what you're reading, it's time to stop reading. But at least you accomplish your goal and help your, circadian rhythm to go to sleep. If that works for you and that can balance your life and starting to read, amazing. I would highly recommend doing it at night. If that doesn't work for you, and maybe if you're listening to a book, which does count, by the way, listening to books is amazing. I listen to a lot of books, and that's really how I accomplish a lot of my reading. I would say do it while you're walking your dogs, grocery shopping, making dinner. That's where you can put 10, 15 minutes of reading, listening time into your day. Commuting to work, commuting from work. There's just so many little pockets of time that you can put aside and schedule in. Okay, every day on my way to work, I'm going to listen to my book. That's it. Even if you just do it for that period of time, whether that's 10 minutes, half an hour, that's great. You're tackling that book. You'll probably, if it's less than 300 pages, you're going to finish that pretty quick. So that's already going to make you feel good. It made me feel good to finish and accomplish those books, get them, going and feeling like, yeah, I'm a reader. I'm reading a book. I finished that in a couple days. Awesome. So I would highly recommend scheduling it in. Now, I would say my final tip, and I do find that it's kind of the hardest part of reading, is knowing what to read next. Now, if you're like me, you might be a collector of books more than a reader of books. I have tons of books, even books behind me right here, that I haven't read, but I keep collecting them and I keep purchasing them. That doesn't make me a reader. That makes me a collector of books, and I enjoy having them. But the only way that I'm actually going to read them is if I make the time. So not knowing what you're going to read next can definitely be a challenge and can kind of stop that momentum of you continuing to read. So I would say my final tip is, even if you're just getting started, maybe find 2 to 4 books within that range of, 300 pages that you feel you're going to enjoy reading. And it can be any genre, if it's fiction, nonfiction, if you're listening to it, if it's a physical book. I think having those books kind of already on your to-read list will make you already prepared mentally, knowing that you're going to have another book to pick up once you're done the other ones, which means that also gives you a little bit of flexibility on what you want to read if you're reading different genres. So I like to read all different types of books, and having a TBR, a to be read list, helps me to know, okay, I have books on my list that I want to read, and I also have flexibility and spontaneity on what I choose to read next. So if I'm reading a nonfiction book, which I currently am actually, but next I want to read a fantasy book, I have some books in my list already there for me. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to try and search the web or watch videos, which, I do those things anyways, but I don't have to do that if I don't want to. I don't have to spend that time. I already know, okay, I have maybe 5 books here. I can choose between these 5 books, and there's no rule that there is one book I have to read next. I have that flexibility to be like, I kind of feel like this book. I kind of feel more like this. And that makes it more fun. It's more flexible. It makes it more enjoyable to read and want to pick up the book. That's basically the thing that you want, is to want to continue to pick up the book, whether that's like listening to it or a physical book. So yeah, those are my tips. You found this helpful, or if you have any more tips that you feel beginner readers or, people trying to get back into reading might enjoy or might have a benefit of, please share them below. I think as a reading community, and what I've seen so far, even watching other people talk about books, read books, and get inspired by other people that read different kinds of books, and I just think that community is so fun. I would love to start those conversations here as well. Yeah, I hope that these tips help, that maybe you're gonna start your first book again. So yeah, if you are starting a book, please share in the comments below as well what book you're gonna read. Yeah, I'd love to hear it. And thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.